gonna show you the beat and then we'll dive into the specifics.
Baby, I'm made up.
Sounding good. So I'm gonna go into the specifics on how I kind of create drums with mixing in mind, and also the specific plugins and EQ moves I do almost on every single mix. So when I started these drums off, I started with the kick and snare. If you don't have a good kick and snare foundation and pattern and sound selection, your drums are gonna be messed up from the beginning. So for this kind of sample,
Baby, I'm made up.
I wanted to go for a realistic kind of, real drums, but also modern. It wouldn't make sense to, find a kick that sounds acoustic and then a snare that is completely electric. So I wanted to find sounds that all fit into one world. So I found the snare first. The snare is +2 semitones. So this is what it sounded before, and this is what it sounds now. The reason I did that was because I wanted to find the exact tuning of my snare. You press, the note button. And I tuned it to D, and we're in D minor, and the first note that hits in this song is a D note. So this snare is gonna fit very well with this song. Now you don't have to do this every single time, but if you can get a snare that is working within the key of your song, it's gonna make it, sound more in place. So before, this snare was tuned to, let's see, C. So then we're gonna bring it up 2 semitones, which is option up arrow, up arrow. Now we're in D. Now the next thing I did was add a kick and get the foundation of the drums, which is the kick and snare pattern. Awesome. Next, I added a hat to give the drum pattern a little bit more excitement when the kick hits. Another place you can put your open hat is right before the snare, kind of leading into it. You can do either one of those and they sound great. And if you notice, I have no plugins on the kick and snare. Now this is because nowadays, samples are already mixed, and all the drum packs you find, they've already been mixed so heavily that adding more kind of curves and EQ to them, unless they really need it, is not necessary. As long as your levels are good, I'd say that mixing is 50% just getting the volume right. And in all my drums, I either have the kick and snare the loudest in the mix. For hip hop, I usually have the kick just a tiny bit louder. It's either that. The kick or snare is gonna be the loudest in your mix. And then everything below that has to fit in their pocket. So moving on. Cool. So for some mixing with these breaks and fills, when I first got them, it sounded like this. It's just too big. This one break is too large. So I wanted to take out and leave room for the kick, which is the main, the main driver. The foundation is that kick. So I took out the low end. Another thing I did, and this is super important, and this is what I do on every single song, is a bit of frequency ducking. You can call it side chaining. So for this drum break, these frequencies are ducking every single time the kick plays. To do that, just to really quickly recreate it, is you open Pro Q3, which is probably the best EQ plugin. If you don't have it, I would strongly recommend. And what I do is I open an EQ on the kick, I solo it, and I find, the peaks of the kick. So let's just do 82 and 235. So then I go to this drum break and I go 82, I think it was like 235. And I have those bands, and then I'm gonna put them right at 0, and then clicking on this dynamic range, I do -2 usually. And for the size of the band, I usually do either 1.4 or 2.6. Those are just my numbers. You can do whatever numbers you want, doesn't really matter. So we're gonna do the same thing here, make it level, and then this will be -2 of reduction when the kick hits. And for this one, let's just do 2.6. So these are the frequencies, the main frequencies of the kick. And we're going to go to sidechain, type in kick, make sure to click, the sidechain button. So it will duck. copy that and I put that thing on my bass. As you can see, the same thing is, and I do it on the sample. So that ducking is super important, and I usually do that frequency or sidechain ducking for the kick and snare, the two main elements of the drums. These make your drums hit harder, and it reduces, clashing within the mix for your drums to really peek through as well. After I did that, I just got rid of some kind of muddy frequencies within this drum break. And that's all I did there, and then pan it just a little bit to the right, because the kick and snare are very centered. Usually the kick is mono, snare is mono, and you want your grooves to kind of be on the sides. Another thing for this drum fill right here is I wanted this to be even more on the side. So again, I'm taking out that lows, ducking some muddiness, and taking out the very highs to make it, kind of seem a little filtered, a little further back. And I'm doing this sample delay. So you're gonna have to have headphones to hear this, and it's super, super subtle. So try and listen to with it off and then with it on. So it puts it way on the sides, it sounds. So it's just a little bit delayed, and it makes it sound super wide. So this is great for adding depth in your drums. Cool. You can stop here, but I like to take it a level further to make them hit more and make them bigger sounding. The next thing I do is I take basically all the drums in my session, Control B to make a group. So I'll call this, drum group. That will take all the drums and put them, into one spot. So I already have it here, and I call it drum parallel compression. So the main goal with this is to add body. So you take a compression plugin. I'm just using the stock plugin, and I'm slamming it. I'm squashing it so it's completely thick and in your face. This is without it. This is with it. So it's just making it super squashed. These are my attack and release. And you can just copy these settings if you want. You're gonna have to mess with the threshold. Then I'm adding some, saturation. This layer is gonna sound pretty loud at first. So they're super wide and super big and squashed. So you just wanna layer that with your drums and slowly bring it down. Really subtle stuff. Let's see if you can hear the difference. So this is with it off. And this is with it on. So parallel compression just makes your drums bigger sounding and hit harder with more impact. For making these drums sound even more in the same place as like they're recorded in real life is I duplicated this to another track like that, holding Option and then dragging. You can duplicate when you let go. I'm doing a reverb group. First thing I'm doing is putting on a reverb. And you want to put the mix at 100% so it's fully wet. I have the decay time super short, because if you have it too long, it's just going to sound too muddy. So I have it super short, and I have the mode on plate. You can either do plate or room. I find that's the best for drums. And after that, immediately I'm doing EQ to get rid of all the muddiness, which all the low end, all the super high end, even this middle stuff where the sample will sit and the vocals are gonna sit. Mixing this into the song is putting this at completely zero and then going up and finding that balance where you can barely hear it. So this is with everything without the drum reverb. With that. Super subtle stuff, but all these little things add up to a big thing. And then to level up your drums even more, adding sweeps like this. I actually have this automated, so the pan is going. Then I also added this kind of like shake hit. Super subtle stuff, but it just adds a little bit more depth. It's super reverb. And both these sounds and this bass, I'm pretty sure, are from my drum kit, link below. All the sounds are great in there and will level up your production. With all this going forward without the sample, it sounds like this. And then I also added this kind of chime effect. And yeah, that's also in my drum kit. So this is all together with the sample. So yeah, that's how I mix my drums, and if you want some of these sounds, the kit is linked below, and let me know if you need help with anything else. I'm gonna be making more videos. Stay cool.